And welcome, everybody. It is a very special edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show in that we are not live from State College's Quaker Steak Lube, although I can strongly encourage you anywhere in the Happy Valley and surrounding area, if you're looking for a great place to go after work and grab an adult bev and watch some college hoops, if you're looking for a great dinner destination that will fill you and your family up at a very affordable price, or you're planning to eat out this weekend, Quaker Steak and Lube is a great destination for you. And I quite obviously am not Jeff the Ironhead Byers or Keith Goon Conlin, nor is my co-host you can see on screen if you're watching online. Spring break here in the Nittany Valley, which means the Ironhead is out on a well-deserved vacation, taking a little time off between Big Tens and Nationals for your defending national champion Penn State Wrestling team. And the Goon is taking the occasion of the spring break to go and, just get a little health situation squared up. He's fine, as we've been telling everybody. He's been working his way through it, and we think we're almost out on the other side on that one. So while Goon recuperates and Ironhead luxuriates, I am joined today. This is Chris Bucanani from obligatory TFN Radio, whatever, if you don't recognize the voice, by another voice you may know if you're a loyal listener of 98.7 The Fox, where you're listening to us live here in central Pennsylvania right now, Jim Galante of the Keystone Sports Network.
Hey, Chris, great to be with you. Fortunately, Chris, I don't have much of a life, so I'm always available.
I appreciate it, man, truly. Thanks so much for filling in on short notice, the two of us. Galante, Bucanani, two Italians. We will do our best to fill in for the Goon and Ironhead. And since we're speaking of Italians, Jim, we got a lot of sports topics to run through on today's program, but you have been following the World Baseball Classic very closely, where the country to which we trace our ethnic origins has been on an absolute tear, including, unfortunately, a beatdown of Team USA. But last night, led by Phillies ace Aaron Nola, they did us a solid. Go.
Yeah, they did. And I've really been into it this year, Chris. And this is the first time I've had this much interest in it. Some of it, for full disclosure, those who don't know me from my show, I'm a huge New York Mets fan. So I'm interested in my Met players who are playing for various countries. Some are in the U.S. team, the Dominican team, the Israeli team. I have my Met players all over the place. But these teams are just star-studded all-star teams. For those who haven't been watching, the U.S. team alone, just listen to this, Chris. Alex Bregman, Byron Buxton, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt, Kyle Schwarber, Cal Raleigh. That is an all-star lineup. It is phenomenal to watch. And if you're a Phillies fan like you are, you get to see Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, which is lots of fun. But you go look at other teams, and it's interesting as fellow Italians. Yeah, I was rooting for the Americans against the Italian team. But part of me was like, I'm not so bad with this. It's kind of fun to see an Italian team where the entire roster, their names end in vowels. Their home run celebration, Chris, if you haven't seen this.
I have seen it, yeah.
They come in and they get a designer jacket to put on and a shot of espresso. They have the espresso machine in the dugout. Okay. But
don't complain about the stereotypes is all I have to say. I am happy, Jim, to see Aaron Nola pitching well. I hope this is indicative of a bounce-back season for him. The Phillies need it very badly, with many years remaining on his contract and high expectations, despite being in the same league with the Dodgers. So I don't know if anybody else is coming out of the NL against that juggernaut. But yes, truly, from my perspective, if the U.S. is going to face plant in a game, it may as well be to the Italians, of whom very little was expected going into this WBC. Is that correct?
Exactly. And they are hot. They are on fire. They were, I assumed they would have a huge letdown the very next day. They had to play Mexico. They were the underdogs again, essentially.
Sure.
And they blasted them.
And
They're hitting.
Team USA needed them to get that win.
Yes, they did. That was the easiest way in. I don't want to get into the convoluted, if there was a three-way tiebreaker, if Mexico had won that game,
Yeah, that's
it
right.
was
Nobody
kind of
cared.
based on how many runs you gave up. Suffice it to say, the U.S. was in. But with all this said, maybe my favorite team to watch in the WBC, the Dominican Republic. Okay? Speaking of stereotyping, but these Latin American teams for years, they know how to celebrate a game. The fans, it's like a college football game in the stands. The players, their celebrations, the bat flips. For some reason in the WBC, it doesn't bother me at all. Speaking of all-star lineup, how about Juan Soto, Vlad Guerrero, Fernando Tatis, Ketel Marte, Julio Rodriguez, Junior Caminero? They are absolutely loaded, Chris. So now that we're in the knockoff round, we're going to see these matchups. And that's not even mentioning Japan, the defending champions, who have a fantastic. You start with Shohei Ohtani, that's a pretty good team. And they have a lot of other great players, some familiar names from the major leagues. So you might think the difference going to be in pitching. And if you don't mind me getting into this a little bit,
Go.
the U.S. team, they built their lineup. They started with like Aaron Judge, and then felt like other players would enjoy playing with Aaron Judge, probably the best or second best hitter in the world. And that came to fruition. On the pitching side, they said they brought in probably the two best pitchers in the world. Paul Skeens from the Pirates, Tarek Skubal from the Detroit Tigers. Man, what a starting place. And you thought, hey, and these are single game eliminations. I like my chances if I got Paul Skeens or Tarek Skubal pitching, right? Feel pretty good. Hold on, not so fast. Tarek Skubal doesn't say this up front, or they don't announce it up front, but as they get closer to the WBC, he announces he's going to pitch once, and pitches like 3 or 4 innings against Great Britain, who, Chris, you could have been the starter for that game, and the U.S. probably still wins.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I understand your point.
But then he talks about, gee, now that I was here, have USA on my jersey, I might stick around for more. And then comes back and says, nah, never mind. I'm one and done. Because he's got to get back to the Tigers and get ready. Well, what's he going to do in spring training with the Tigers? He's going to pitch a few innings. Why not do it for the WBC? And we're supposed to feel bad for him for missing this opportunity. No. This is on you. If you wanted to pitch. Don't put one foot in the water. Or if he would have started out by saying, I'm not going, hey, I'm on a contract year, I've got possibly a $400 million contract at stake. I get it. I do. I understand. But saying you're going to go and pitch 3 or 4 innings against Great Britain, come on. No, just either be in or don't be in. So that's Salty Jim with my rant on that, Chris. With that said, though, I'm loving the WBC.
Yeah, I agree with your reasoning there. I don't understand, truly. I don't understand the difference between prior generations of pitchers who you saw just throw a lot more and a lot deeper into games on a much more regular basis than we see today, and the modern philosophy of, load management, to borrow the term from the NBA, that they use with modern pitchers. Baseball of all sports, to me, seems like the one that has changed the least over the passage of time. And yet now there is this idea that we have to walk on eggshells with the health of these pitchers. I understand they're throwing more pitchers throwing faster than you used to see, which theoretically is putting more stress, especially on the soft tissue. The massive gap is inexplicable to my novice's brain. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are sports scientists who have an explanation. I don't know if it's good or not, but I'm sure the explanation exists. But yeah, it's just, I look at Nolan Ryan, right? Pretty good for a long period of time. You never heard that guy, not once. The concept of load management would not have processed with that man. And then you look at modern pitchers. So yeah, I don't get it. And to your point, if the best you're going to do is put your name on the roster in a ceremonial fashion, show up and throw a few innings against Great Britain, why show up?
Exactly. And I think I don't even like the fact that he says they're going to play like the finals in Miami. Okay. He's in training camp with the Tigers in Florida. He says he might show up for the semifinals and finals if the U.S. makes it to sit in the dugout with his teammates.
Oh, how generous. How magnanimous. Yeah.
If you're not going to pitch, don't show up. I don't want you there. Now, the injury deal, pitching has changed. They've maximized these pitchers now to throw so hard, throw max right from the start. And that's tough because they don't, hey, just throw as hard as you can for as many innings as you can. It wasn't like back in the day, Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Jim Palmer. They would throw maybe at 80, 90% speed. They would save something for the 7th, 8th, even 9th inning.
Sure.
And if you want to go absolutely crazy looking at stats, if you're a baseball person, and you see guys now with complete games, like 3 in the year is a lot. Go back, go to yourbaseballreference.com, look up Bob Gibson, 1968. Okay. I know just by saying that I'm aging myself, Chris, but the guy was a freaking monster, Pitched to 1.12 ERA that year, but check out his number of complete games. It's ridiculous. So that's my old guy shouting at clouds. But with all of that said, Chris, if you haven't been watching the WBC, do yourself a favor, tune in, and especially now when they've gotten rid of, the teams that really had no chance, but the teams that are left, find the Dominican Republic, the U.S., find the Italian team, fun to watch, the Japanese team. I think Friday night the U.S. is playing against Canada. Tune in. It's fun baseball. It's like watching an all-star game, but the players actually care, okay, as opposed to the real all-star game.
That actually leads into what my next question was going to be for you, Jim. You say the players actually care. It's interesting to me that this event comes right on the front end of what is infamously a very long regular season for the major leagues. Now, you are unquestionably a bigger baseball fan than I am, which is not to say that I don't like it, but it's not my favorite sport and it's not my second favorite sport. I know you're really into it, and you said this is the first year that you have really dialed in on the WBC, and it seems like a lot of people are getting into it. It's not that old. They've only done it a couple of times, so something like this takes a little while to build interest in it, I think. Talk a little bit, number one, about what's sucked you in this year, and make the pitch to people, especially baseball fans who are waiting for the regular season to start up, why they may want to tune in. And also, just, do you think this has been good, bad, or indifferent for the health of the game overall?
Well, you brought up the question of the timing when it is. I'll get to that in a second. But I think you pointed out something very important. It takes a while to build up. It took a while to get the best players to show up. And it's because I think they found the other guys were playing and having a great time with it. Now, I'm a big Mets fan. Juan Soto is kind of a different kind of personality. Does he really enjoy playing with the Mets? there is no doubt the guy is having fun with the Dominican Republic. Okay,
Yeah.
he's just they're having lots of fun, and it has the feel of playoff baseball, where a 162 game season. Hey, so every team's going to lose 60 games no matter what. Okay, this, the U.S. with that one loss to Italy, that could have been it. They could have not made it, advanced in this. And now the knockout round, you lose, you're done. It's one and done. It's like game 7. Every game is a game 7. So that's fun. The fact that the crowd is into it, it's kind of like using, college football, what you and I are really into. If the fans weren't there at Beaver Stadium, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The crowd, the excitement. Well, that's what these crowds are like for these games. They are totally into it. And like I said, with the players watching the celebration, and I'm typically not the guy in a 162 game season, the bat flip and all that. I don't need that. But you know what? You hit a game-winning home run in Game 7 of a series. Hey, Cadillac it around the bases. I mean, take 5 minutes to get around the bases if you want, celebrating. I'm all for it, and that's what you get in this series. So I am enjoying it. And if you're looking for the stars, I think from where we are, Chris, I'm a Mets fan. You're a Phillies fan. Like you said, you got to see Aaron Nola pitching for Italy and do a heck of a job. As a Philly fan, I'm sure that means something to you. And you get to see Bryce Harper play in meaningful games. Kyle Schwarber. You know what? As a Met fan, I absolutely hate those guys. Hate them. Hate them. I'm rooting for Bryce Harper, okay? This is what it takes for me to root for those guys.
Let me get you to let me get you to weigh in on something tangential. You've brought this up a couple of times. Some of your favorite players playing for other countries' teams, which happens in the Olympics, happens in the WBC. Now, I'm maybe going to get myself in some hot water here, given our listening audience, but I don't care. I'm just going to come out and say this because this drives me nuts. I remember when I was in college, and I've noticed this happen multiple times. You have the Winter Olympics. They have gone to using all professional players in hockey, just like they did earlier in basketball. And so inevitably, there are players who are star players on someone's favorite NHL team who are playing on Team Canada. And multiple times now, between Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby, there have been Penguins playing on Team Canada. And there are Pittsburgh Penguin fans I know who are rooting for the Canadian team on the basis of the fact that, like, some guy who's drawing a check from their favorite NHL franchise plays for that. I think that is quite literally borderline treasonous, Jim. Ridiculous. You take my favorite Flyer of all time is Rod Brind'Amour. Okay, I love Rod Brind'Amour. I wish. Listen. I'm very happy with the Flyers coaching situation right now. If Rod were ever to leave Carolina, which I don't think he will, because he won a cup there as a captain after Philly traded him, and now he's been the head coach there forever. I would love for him to coach the Flyers. You rewind to when he was wearing the orange and black. You put that guy on Team Canada or any other team on this planet that ain't wearing red, white, and blue and the stars and stripes. I hate his guts for 2 weeks. It is insane. It is utter insanity to me to betray your own national loyalties because of something as flimsy and ephemeral as what professional team a guy plays for. Nuts, gross. If you're out there and you're a Penguins fan and you're offended by this because I'm describing you, I don't care. Oh, say can you see my country 'tis of thee? You should be embarrassed.
Chris,
ashamed of yourself. Gross.
You know what?
Disgusting.
You just gave, I think, the best reason for being into these events. You were showing emotion towards it. It wasn't like, whatever. No, you were showing emotion. You hate that player. Well, I hate Bryce Harper. How about Aaron Judge? Aaron frickin' Judge from the stinking evil
Yeah.
Empire
Yep.
Yankees.
Can't stand him. Overrated, by the way.
Yes. Most overrated Yankee since Derek Jeter. So, off the
Hey,
air.
man, at least Derek Jeter had rings, man. That dude made plays on a big stage. That's all I'm going to say. But that's another conversation for another day. Go on.
It is. But that's what makes sports fun, Chris. You're into it. You're excited about it. Now, no matter who's playing on the other team, I'm going to root for the USA for all the reasons you said. I'm going to root
Absolutely.
for Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge.
If some loser from the Mets helps Team USA win this thing, I'm all about them.
Great.
You got to have a clear hierarchy, and if the red, white, and blue ain't at the top of it, you got to look in the mirror and start making some life changes. That's all I'm saying.
But going forward, if the Italian team is not playing the USA, I'm rooting for them.
Oh
Chris.
yeah, sure, all for them. Great.
I enjoy.
Nice
I
story.
like watching the Dominican Republic play.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a fun watch. Plus, they have multiple Mets on that team. Juan Soto, Brazaban, a relief pitcher who I suspect you've never heard of.
No.
He's pitched well in this tournament. I like that. I like watching him.
Well, I hope they throw him a bunch of innings and wear him out before the season starts.
Well, see, that's the only thing. If you're a fan, the Phillies, you concern yourself with pitchers, okay? That's where you're really concerned.
Well, and to your point, you were talking about, the intensity of playoff baseball, and it's like an all-star game, except they're trying. That is the one thing that concerns you when you're contrasting to what a pitcher is going to do in spring training. He's not throwing full speed. He's not going all out. He's on a very controlled pitch count where the outcome of the game doesn't matter at all. So I can see there being at least reasonable concern, especially because of the way pitchers are used now in modern baseball about that. I don't know how much of an issue that is, but I could see it coming up. Sure.
I'm concerned. My concern is with Met pitchers being there.
Right.
3 years ago, the last one, did you know Edwin Diaz got hurt in the last WBC?
I remember that
season.
Yeah. Yep.
He did it celebrating. Okay. Trust me, he would not have been celebrating if he was in Port St. Lucie in a spring training game.
That's a great point.
And the thing about pitchers, I think if you're a veteran pitcher like Clay Holmes, who's a Met starter, he's pitching on the American team. He's been going middle relief, pitched like 3 innings, middle relief, pitched really well. I'm not concerned about him. But a young guy, Nolan McLean, who he gave up 3. He struck out the side in the first, gave up a couple home runs, so it wasn't a great performance against Italy. I worry about him because I think he's very young, still has something to prove, and might have a little more trouble not giving 100%, not overthrowing is the way I should put it. And I think everyone's trying 100%. I'm afraid he's going to try to go 110%, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And for high stress innings in March, a young pitcher, I'm not sure they know how to handle it. So as a Met fan, that's the only one I'm really concerned about. The veteran pitchers, I'm not as concerned. I think they know how to handle themselves. But bottom line to it, Chris, is if you're a sports fan and you're a baseball fan, this is entertaining baseball. You won't see games this intense until September.
Good stuff. Well, the World Baseball Classic still going on. Worth checking out. Team USA still alive. And if you are like Galante and myself, and your name ends in a long vowel sound, you have the fascinating subplot of Team Italy on something of a run. I love it. You're tuned in to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, proudly presented by the good folks at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. We're not out there this week as people are balancing schedules over State College spring break, taking time for some vacation stuff, some healthcare and medical stuff. And so you get Jim Galante of the Keystone Sports Network and myself, Chris Buchanani at TFN Radio. You can hear both of us Monday, Wednesday, Friday, in this same time slot every week, 2 to 4 p.m. I start it. Jim finishes it. We are both here filling in for Goon and Ironhead. We're not at the Lube, but we're sending good thoughts and hopefully sending you out there to give them some of your business. You will be very well taken care of by their excellent, very competent staff, and you will enjoy an excellent meal, and you will not find a bad seat in the house in terms of line of sight to one of the many flat screens, which I talk about all the time, drives me nuts. In a lot of sports bars, depending on where they sit you, you got to crane your neck to see the TV. Not so at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. So we're going to take a little break here, and then we'll be back on Central Pennsylvania Sports Authority, Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again, The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox State College.
Welcome back. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. No Goon, no Ironhead. The long-term effect of syncing up Penn State and State College School District-wide and apparently community-wide spring break here in Happy Valley. This is Chris Buchanani, fake host of the obligatory PSU pregame show and podcast, your host of TFN Radio with Chris Buchanani every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on the Fox from 2 to 3 p.m. And joining me on the panel, trying to capably fill the enormous shoes of Goon and the normal human size shoes of Jeff the Ironhead Byers, is the gentleman whose program follows mine Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on the Fox, Jim Galante of the Keystone Sports Network.
Great to be on with you, Chris. And I love that you humored me in the first segment. You let me talk baseball.
It's a story I've been hearing a lot of people talk about. There is no question. The first couple of times they did this, I did not see a lot of chatter about it online. And more importantly, just anecdotally, I did not have anyone talking to me about it among my friends who are all big sports fans. You know, our text threads, our group conversations, coffee shop talk, all of it. You didn't hear it at all. This year, there's been a lot. And so I definitely think for whatever reason, it's caught the national attention. I do think for right now, just with the times in the world, it's fun to have some distractions to take our mind off this. Nice to see something that involves international cooperation. And also, as you said, they've just managed to reel in a lot of the big names from Major League Baseball to participate this year. So I'm with it. It's cool.
And the one topic we didn't really hit, I think you just sort of nudged up against it, was the timing of it, that they're doing this during spring training. That is the big challenge for the game. The alternative, I don't think they would do it after the season. Guys who've had a long season of throwing the ball, you probably wouldn't get any pitchers. The one other argument is, I guess they do this in hockey for the Olympics, is they'll take a break in the middle of the season.
Right.
And they thought maybe get rid of the All-Star break and take like a week off to do this. There's a problem there too, is mid-season to take a week or two off, again, to get these players out of their routine. And, you know, I say now I don't get worked up about my Met players participating in this. But if it were mid-season and they're in a pennant race, I'm not sure at that time I'm looking for my pitchers to use up their bullets. But so...
Yeah, no, I think the timing is right. You're never going to have it perfect, and this is probably the best option.
Exactly. This is the best of all the other options.
Okay, so let's shift gears now, Jim. We talked about baseball. Now you can indulge me for a little while, and we'll talk about the sport that has no offseason, truly, which is the NFL. If college football is getting to the point where there's no offseason, the NFL has long since perfected spacing out the headline-grabbing manufactured events to connect the Super Bowl to the start of training camp, right? Because you go right for, you have combine, and you've got opening of free agency, and you've got the draft, and you've got OTAs. There's never not a time where there's something grabbing headlines in the NFL. So there have been some big headlines in NFL free agency. But before we get there, I do want to talk about a story that has been making the rounds today. If our radio listeners here in Happy Valley were tuned in to Two Pros and a Cup of Joe this morning with Brady Quinn, LeVar Arrington's normally on that show, they were talking about it a little bit. I teased it at the top of the hour, and I said, I'm just going to drop it on your sight unseen because I want to get your reaction. Although, Jim, I know you may have seen this already. It is getting some attention. There are reports today that potentially as soon as this season, so later this fall in 2026, the NFL is looking at scheduling a game for what they're calling Thanksgiving Eve. So that's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So for those of you scoring at home, in week 11, week 12 of the NFL regular season, you would have to figure out, teams coming off bye, maybe a team that had played on Thursday night the week before. But you would have two teams match up on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Then you would play 3 more games on Thanksgiving Day and then another on Black Friday. And that's, with all the traditional college football matchups that take place that weekend still being played. Egg Bowl not happening again on Thanksgiving this year, which I hate, but that's a different issue. Ostensibly, this would be a game sold to a streaming network. This would not be available over, your traditional over-the-air channels or cable. Your initial reactions as somebody who I know enjoys the NFL but doesn't love it like I do. But you're a regular consumer of the product throughout the year.
Couple things with it. First of all, as a fan, you're giving me more days of football. Sign me up.
Okay. Yeah. See, you're an interesting focus group for this, Jim, because you are somebody who doesn't live and die with the NFL the way I do. So you're not a diehard of diehards. Is
Correct.
That fair?
That's fair.
You miss an Eagles game, it is not a crisis in your life. On the other hand, you are somebody who most weeks will make some time to watch the Birds and probably a few other games too, right?
Yeah, I will. I'm pretty hardcore with the Eagles the last few years because they're both good and they're entertaining.
Yes.
So they're fun to watch. And you're right. For me, I'm not the diehard like I am college football, but I do enjoy it. So as a fan, you give me an extra day of football, I'll take it. I want it as a consumer. Now, I'm glad you prefaced it by saying, I don't want them to have a team play on Sunday and then play on Wednesday again. It's just not right. It's too fast a turnaround, especially the team that has to travel.
That's a legitimate safety issue, right? But it also, it's like it speaks to product quality. I don't want to be watching guys on 3 days rest playing 2 regular season games in the span of 5. It's just absurd.
Correct. It's wrong. But as a consumer, now you brought up, and it's probably a bigger topic than just this game, sports on these streaming services. Fortunately or unfortunately, I got Peacock because Penn State was going to play on Peacock.
Yep.
And I am exactly what they wanted. I never canceled it. And I still get there's some college hoops on it. You may say, why am I bothering to watch? But there's some Penn State basketball games that are on there. And, every once in a while I'll flip it on to see a game there. Now, this back to baseball for just a second, this Italy-Mexico game, which was going to determine the U.S.'s status, if they were going to advance or not, originally was supposed to be on a service called Tubi, which is actually a free streaming. And yes, Chris, Jim has Tubi on his. So I saw a lot of people complain. Now they moved it to FS1 because they knew the interest would be there for it. But I have it. So Fisco's this Wednesday night Thanksgiving Eve game goes on to streaming. Sadly enough, I will probably have that streaming service and be able to watch it without any heartache.
Well, and this is what the NFL is clearly banking on, that there are enough people who are either addicts or addiction adjacent with their product that they will go ahead and seek it out no matter where they put it. So let me just give you the alternative perspective I thought was summed up well. I retweeted this. This is from Craig Horlbeck of The Ringer on X. Commenting on this, Craig says, the NFL is tampering with its most valuable asset, scarcity. We love football because it's once or twice each week. It makes every game special. No one wants 7 games in 9 nights. Then it becomes just like every other sport. And if you want my opinion, I'm much closer to that viewpoint than yours. I don't like the NFL systematically bullying college and high school now off nights that have traditionally belonged to them. Long ago, Thursday night was a college football night. Goon has talked about this on this program over the years. And, you see the NFL muscling its way onto Saturday. It messes with college football's ability to have a playoff calendar that makes sense. And now you're just more and more and more. I do believe there is some validity to the Mark Cuban pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered viewpoint on the NFL. It used to be 2 games on Thanksgiving Day. That's it. Traditionally, get the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. One team I don't care about, one I get to enjoy rooting against every Thanksgiving. Great. Awesome. Then you add the NFL Network game in the evening. Some of those have been a lot of fun. That Bears game, which I think was Thursday night this past year. Incredible. They're Bears Packers. You've got the Black Friday game now, which has been added. Not necessary. Okay, great, fine. Impinging into college football territory. Now you're going after the night where all the people go back to their hometown and get loaded with their old high school buddies on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. When is it too much? Can we just have some order in this universe, Jim, where Friday night belongs to high school, Saturday belongs to college, Sunday and Monday night belong to the NFL, and Tuesday and Wednesday belong to the MAC? Is that so bad?
I hear you. Now, here's where I'll counter a little bit. Thanksgiving Day, which is traditionally an NFL day, I travel for Thanksgiving. Not in my own home. I don't control the TV, and I'm supposed to be mingling and not supposed to be sitting in the living room watching TV. So for me to have football Wednesday night.
Can't you do both?
Well, I can, however, it's not in my best interest.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
If you could live with that. So it gives me more options. Now, we grew up with, you pointed out, Friday night high school, Saturday college, Sunday NFL. And I appreciate that, and I want that. I don't like college playing Friday night interfering with high school. I don't like NFL playing Saturday and interfering with college. But I will go, and this is me showing my age a bit. I actually remember a day and age where Monday was not NFL football. It was this radical, crazy idea, Chris. You're going to put a game on Monday night?
Sure.
Oh, no, can't do that. That's craziness. Well, it's just crazy enough. It might work out. And it did. Now, it's 50 years later. I think it's settled in pretty well. So until things are there for a few years, it seems odd. And it may be the difference of, we described our difference. You're there Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, locked into football. I'm not. And part of it is because it is NFL, I don't care quite as much. But I'm not going out drinking with the boys on Wednesday night. I would love to have a football game on there. So,
well, and they could all watch it in the bar too.
Yes, they can.
Let me play devil's advocate against my own position. You raise a very interesting point about how it was revolutionary programming to put an NFL game on a weeknight in prime time. That was an experiment that was a tremendous success and has now become a tradition and part of the, American viewing calendar. It's become habitual for the fall. We now live in a completely different media environment than the one from which Monday Night Football sprung. Live sports, and in particular live NFL football, is the only thing left that draws a mass audience. Back in the day, there would be daytime soap operas, there would be episodes of Cheers on at night, there would be nightly news, there'd be all kinds of things on television that drew a big audience from sea to shining sea. That's all gone. all wiped out
Yes.
by, hyper customized, individualized, personalized media feeds going directly to our phones. The only thing that we all tune in to watch together en masse is NFL football. And so in that environment, where you used to have the scarcity of whatever, Sunday, Monday night, because there was a whole broadcast calendar every week that you worked around, that's all gone, obliterated. Maybe it makes more sense to spread out really the only resource you have left to monetize if you're delivering traditional over-the-air or cable television, and that's NFL football, especially when you consider the way the modern football fan consumes the product with Red Zone on NFL Sundays and with live betting on Sports App and with fantasy football. The fan experience and the way they consume it and the way they consume media in general has evolved. And so maybe the NFL looks at that and says, we're it. We're the only competitor left in the space, and it doesn't make sense for us to consolidate all of our product onto one day. So it serves our audience, it serves our broadcast partners, and it serves us best to spread it out. Nobody wants to hear that if you're a traditionalist, but I'm telling you from somebody who is at least adjacent to that business, this is the way they think about it. And if we're being honest, it's probably pretty smart.
It probably is. But it leads me to another question in all this. Do you have an issue with them putting games on streaming services, that there's games on Prime or Netflix or Tubi?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it just because I see the way that it inhibits accessibility to the games, but I understand why they're doing it, and I understand they're not going to stop.
I would. Do you remember a day when not everybody had ESPN, and if a game were on ESPN, if the Eagles were playing the Giants, you would get a local, like Channel 29 in Philadelphia, would also carry the game.
Sure.
So at least those who it was their hometown team, they could get it on over-the-air TV. Right. Which I'm not sure if people know what over-the-air TV means anymore.
I mean traditional networks when I say that.
Yeah. But, I think your overall point is the NFL is still in demand. People still want more, still watch it. We haven't, you and I might say, gee, it's oversaturated. But the thing is, people are still watching. And as you said, it's a unique product, one of the few products that people gather around to watch and maybe talk about at work the next day because everything else is streaming. It's, we don't have who shot JR moments anymore.
Jim, we don't even have who shot the actual president of the United States moments anymore. I mean, we just can't pay attention to anything other than NFL games. So if I'm Roger Goodell and I'm in charge of that business model, I'm looking for ways I can spread that wealth around and recoup the benefits of doing so. So I get it. Chris Buchanani, the obligatory PSU pregame show and TFN Radio with Chris Buchanani and Jim Galante, the Keystone Sports Network, filling in the 2 to 4 slot on a Thursday here on 98.7 The Fox. You can hear both of us, myself from 2 to 3, Jim and Keystone Sports Network from 3 to 4, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on 98.7 The Fox. We are bringing you the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show as we fill in for the boys. And a reminder that a great place to go and get a plate of wings and adult bev to enjoy all the college basketball action on the horizon, as well as college wrestling, college hockey. Penn State, a big player in 2 out of 3 of those and completely irrelevant in the third. If you know anything about anything, you know how that breaks down, is State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, our longtime partner. Jim, you're a big wing guy, yes?
Oh, my God, yes.
Okay, so a couple of questions for you. Are you more of a sauce or a dry rub guy?
If it's sauce, it's buffalo wings. Barbecue wings, I think, are wrong. I love barbecue chicken, not barbecue wings, okay? but buffalo, love it. I also like dry rubs. I love wings so much, though. You know, Chris, lemon pepper, butter garlic, buffalo. If they're wings, I'm eating them.
Well, either way, you're well set with the selection of sauces and dry rubs at Quaker Steak and Lube.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of the dry rub, to be honest, and they've got some ones that are just really top quality that even I'll order them and enjoy them.
I've had their wings. I love them. And
yeah,
you know what, Chris? The first Thursday, Friday of the NCAA tournament should be a national holiday. Should be a national
100%.
holiday. Was there anything better? Now, a lot of people work from home anyway now, but there was a time it's like, oh, I'm not feeling well. That's how Thursday morning goes. I'm going to leave at noon, okay? And you meet your buddies at the bar. You go to some place like Quaker Steak with all the big screens up. You might have a little bit of a wager on a couple of those games. Worst case, you have your pool, so you've got a rooting interest in every game, and a big plate of wings and cold beer. Chris, national holiday. That's what it should be.
Head on out to Quaker Steak and Lube here in Happy Valley. Let them know Goon and Ironhead sent you. So happy to have you along for the ride here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we are going to talk some NFL free agency tomfoolery. And if I annoyed any of the Penguins fans earlier, I'm going to get the Pittsburgh folks back on my side, because I am going to open the Bombay doors on the Baltimore Ravens organization. Total Bush League nonsense. Roger Goodell needs to order his version of the nuclear football brought to his office, and we're going to talk about it more on the other side. So keep it locked right here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. We'll be back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show right after this.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors. People invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State College.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Reminder, we are brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. We're live here on 98.7 The Fox in Central Pennsylvania. I am Chris Buchanani, fake host of the obligatory PSU pregame show, host of TFN Radio with Chris Buchanani every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. here on The Fox. Following my show is my co-host filling in for Goon and Ironhead today, Jim Galante, the Keystone Sports Network. Hear him every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Fox. And Jim, I promised the audience I was going to tear into the Baltimore Ravens organization on the other side of the break, and I can't wait to do it.
You know what? I love Salty Chris. This is, when you tear into someone, you do it well, Chris. I can't wait to hear it.
So I assume you know the subject matter we're about to get into.
Yes, I do.
If anyone out there is unaware, the Baltimore Ravens supposedly, apparently, purportedly had pulled off the trade of the NFL offseason, sending 2 first-round picks to the Las Vegas Raiders for star pass rusher Max Crosby. Okay. Big headline to open the NFL free agent period. Teams start going into this stupidest thing I have heard. The legal tampering period. Why don't we just open free agency 2 days later? Why do we have a de facto free agency that starts on Monday and then a real free agency that starts on Wednesday? And we call it the legal tampering period. Why don't we just have a legal free agent period? But that's a different story for a different day. The Raiders are going out there signing free agents, including former Eagles linebacker Nakobe Dean, who I was so happy to see go to the AFC and not stay within the division with the Dallas Cowboys. Other teams are signing players. Teams with needs at pass rusher stop calling the Raiders with offers for Max Crosby. They then move on to pursuing Trey Hendrickson, the free agent pass rusher from the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, today, or yesterday, really, Jim, news breaks that the scumbag Ravens are calling off the trade because they claim that Max Crosby failed his physical. Now, there's a lot of skepticism about how legitimate this failed physical was, and it just happened, Jim, that fortunately Trey Hendrickson was right on deck to sign with the Ravens almost immediately after Max Crosby happened to fail his physical. Now, if that seems a little suspicious to you, obviously you're not a Philadelphia Eagles fan, because if you're a Birds fan, you already knew to be suspicious of any deal that's offered to you by Eric DeCosta, the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens, because last season, Eric DeCosta calls up Howie Roseman, the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, and says, hey, I know you're having trouble with your CB2 spot. Well, we got former Packers star Jair Alexander on our roster, and I know he's been having some health issues, but he's healthy. He's ready to go. He's excited to come back and play NFL football. How about we swap our picks in the 6th and 7th round, and we'll send Jair up there, and he'll be re-energized for the chance to play with a Super Bowl contender, and we'll get him out of the AFC. So it's no harm, no foul, unless we see you in the big game. Well, how many snaps of Eagles football do you think Jair Alexander played in his NFL career, which is now over because he went on to retire, Jim?
I'm guessing not many.
0. Blanking 0. I gotta be really, I gotta really work to be FCC compliant in this segment, because this whole business, this Jair Alexander stuff, which ended up in the Eagles getting almost a $900,000 cap exemption because of the chicanery pulled by Eric DeCosta and the Baltimore Ravens organization. And this Max Crosby bleepity bleep is so absurd. It is so ridiculous. I think, Jim, and tell me whether you agree with this assertion, that Roger Goodell needs to open an investigation into how exactly on the up and up this actually is. I think to include bringing in an independent league-sponsored physician to actually get to the bottom of how physically suitable Max Crosby is to meet or not meet the standards of a physical, because to me, this calls into question the entire legitimacy of all the rules and all the structure the league puts around governing when and how players can move from team to team. And it seems to me like the Ravens are just developing under DeCosta a track record of playing fast and loose with those rules and trying to run end around on them. And that is the one thing that the NFL has just never tolerated. If you try to color outside the well-defined lines that keep that well-oiled machine cranking, they drop the hammer of Thor on you. You know, you saw what happened to the New England Patriots during Spygate. There is zero tolerance for trying to go outside the league structure in the NFL. It's one of the reasons why it's so successful, because there is ironclad adherence to discipline. And to me, I think this is where there's smoke, there's fire. And so at the bare minimum, I believe the league office needs to open an investigation. And if they find even a hint of impropriety, I think Roger Goodell needs to press the button. And I am talking about stripping that organization of draft picks as punishment.
Well, I've got several questions on this, Chris, and maybe you can help me out.
Let's do it.
First of all, the illegal tampering period. I've never understood it.
Legal tampering.
Legal tampering. Okay. So if you're essentially coming to an agreement, is it not a deal then? So in this case, it was a trade, with the couple first round picks. So is it considered not really a trade? It was agreed upon. So what, other than a gentleman's agreement, is it an agreement or not?
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, it's that gray area.
Right. And the other part to it is, do you think it was, oh, gee, we can get this other defensive end, just sign him as a free agent, which we didn't realize 3 days ago. But now that we know it, oops, all of a sudden his medicals don't look so good.
Right.
So, and then that becomes,
and we don't have to give up 2 first-round picks, and we just conveniently sign the biggest pass rusher on the market 2 minutes later.
Right. So it's was this sort of planned all along? Was it, hey, we'll make the deal, but always know it's tentative because we know we might get the top defensive end in free agency? I'd like to know more. But I also wonder about, and it's not unusual in sports, baseball, again, I'm a big baseball fan. You see it sometimes at the trade deadline. Trades are made, and it's always pending the physical. Okay. Sure. Carlos Correa famously signed with the Mets, and then the Mets saw the medicals, said no. I believe it was the San Francisco Giants, signed him, then saw the medicals and said no. And then a guy who was getting like 7 or 8 year contracts all of a sudden had to sign like a 1 or 2 year deal because of his medical. So there can be a time where it's legitimate, but to your point with the investigation, is there, an independent group somewhere who can look at the medicals and say, hey, wait a minute. Yes, we know he's coming off an injury, which he is, but is there someone who could independently look at it and say, hey, the medicals are good, the deal needs to go through? I'm not sure. How do you?
Absolutely.
I guess the best way is you need to punish them. But I feel bad for the Raiders, who got 2 number 1 picks out of this, and now, whether legit or not, now because the guy is coming off an injury, any other team looking at Max Crosby now, I'm not giving up 2 first-round picks for a guy who has the questionable medical.
I thought it was an overpay by Baltimore, personally.
It was.
And clearly they thought it was too, because they found a way to back out of it. To answer your first question, yes, of course, there's independent medical evaluation in the NFL all the time now with concussions. There's no question there's a way for somebody to come in and get a second opinion on this and either say, hey, actually, yes, Max Crosby would not have passed a physical for, 30 other NFL clubs. It would be good to know. Right? There are a lot of people like me who are looking at this and saying, okay, man, you signed that Trey Hendrickson contract pretty fast. That looks a little suspicious, just in terms of giving your customers confidence that your product's on the up and up. I think it would be good for the league to look into this and be able to issue an opinion on it. But then the other question becomes, do you have one club trying to play by a different set of rules than the other 31? And that has never been tolerated from the very beginning in the NFL. And if that's the case, then you want to set an example that says, hey, we're watching. If you break the rules, there are going to be consequences. So you asked, do I think that was the plan all along? Either to kill time by offering the Raiders a dummy trade, or do I think that initially the offer was genuine and then they got cold feet and cooked up a reason to kill it based on fraudulent medical information? I think both of those things are possibilities. And simply because it seems like a reasonable enough cause for scrutiny, the league needs to get in and they need to investigate. And if they can find any evidence that it was either one of those things, but especially, Jim, if the theory you posited was correct, which was all along, the whole thing was a long game con to try to alter the dynamics of the free agent market and set them up to be able to sign Trey Hendrickson, then I think they should be docked draft picks and find money. But they should absolutely lose at minimum, their first 2 draft picks this year.
Well, if that was the plan, all along, like, okay, we've got this in our back pocket. We have Trey Hendrickson out here as a possibility, but if we don't get to sign him, hey, we still have Max Crosby in our back pocket. But hey, we come to a deal with the top defensive end in free agency. We just use the medicals as our reason to get out of this. Boy, you've got to throw the book at him. And I know it's conjecture on our part, but looking at this, to your point, it's worth investigation by the NFL. And they also have to look at this whole legal tampering schedule, and fix it. It's just it creates an atmosphere where teams can do things like this.
Oh, I'm muted. A couple other notes from free agency. You saw that Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, ends up, going from Seattle to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's just further proof that even though Philly broke the mold 2 years ago, given Saquon Barkley the big contract and was immediately rewarded with a historic season and a ring, Kenneth Walker was, I think, probably undervalued heading into the draft where he was selected. And so therefore Seattle got him at great value and got a Super Bowl MVP performance out of him. That position is just not going to be highly valued monetarily. It wasn't worth it to the Seahawks to bring back their Super Bowl MVP at what his top of market value was going to be. It's just, I mean, it's an interesting commentary on how the league continues to value different positions.
It is, Chris, but don't you think someone like Howie Roseman, who he threw out that rule that you don't spend big on a running back by bringing in Saquon Barkley. And what I find fascinating about it is you and I talked about this when it first happened. You and I are Eagles fans. You and I obviously are Penn State fans also. We saw Saquon coming to the Eagles. Neither one of us said, oh my goodness, what's he doing investing that much in a running back? We both said, I said, I've been such a Saquon advocate.
Yeah.
This guy's special. This guy's a game changer. And with the Eagles offensive line compared to that disaster with the New York Giants, it's about the caliber of the player. And it will be fascinating to me to see now who you say he went to the Chiefs. Now, I think the Chiefs are on the back end of their window, but it'll be interesting to see how well he performs. And if he plays well, does this start to break that tendency? Because they go in cycles where we'll start valuing the running back position again.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And just to comment on Barkley, I had reservations about investing that much in running back, even though I knew he was going to have a great season behind Philly's offensive line. My point was just if you don't win a Super Bowl, it wasn't worth it. But in year one of the contract, you won the Super Bowl. So it's already, I mean, it's a wash at this point. It's already worth it because you got the Lombardi. And now we'll see. We'll see. Can you rejuvenate Patrick Mahomes and get something out of your last year at Travis Kelce's? You're coming down to the end of the Andy Reid era on that run. Patrick Mahomes, I think, is a good enough quarterback that they can re-rack and have a second life there in Kansas City. But if you bring Kenneth Walker in and you can use a power running game and alleviate some of the pressure on your star quarterback, if that works, I think you're right. Between some of these other running back deals we've seen and the Saquon Barkley effect, it may create, they always say copycat league, a run on the running back position. And we're not going to get into the draft today, but I'm sure you're interested in where Singleton and Katron Allen are going to go.
Very, very much so. And I do think, as you pointed out, it's a copycat league. And that I see that as a problem. And this is why I love Howie Roseman, GM of the Eagles, because he doesn't do things because everybody else is doing them. He zigged when everybody else was zagging at the running back position, okay? The unwritten rule was you don't invest big in running backs. And I agreed with that rule unless you get a guy like Saquon Barkley, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, you follow it more closely than I do. Kenneth Walker, I remember him in college, was really good. Hey, in that Super Bowl, he was special. Is he a special running back, Chris? Is he that kind of guy that you do invest the money in him because he can be a difference maker?
Well, here's the thing, and whether it's 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby or some of the deals like you're seeing, like what Carolina gave Jalen Phillips, Philly was happy to bring him back at $20 million a year, not for the $30 million a year Carolina was paying. You look at what some of the Penn State guys, good for them, are making on the free agent market.
Oh, yeah.
NFL free agency rarely has, sometimes, but rarely, players who will step in and make a difference between your team winning the Super Bowl next year or not. Nevertheless, it is defined by who's available and what teams need. And so almost every player is going to get overpaid in free agency. And to your question, I think Kenneth Walker, despite being a great player who was a perfect fit for that Seahawks team last year and had an excellent postseason and a great Super Bowl, I think he is more in the probably got overpaid because he was the best of the available lot in free agency versus this is a Saquon Barkley who's going to immediately transform your team. Now, when you combine that with Patrick Mahomes, who is a far more capable player than Sam Darnold, and Andy Reid, who is just one of the best who's ever done it in terms of scheming up offense and recognizing player talent and putting guys in position to succeed, maybe that maximizes the value of your investment because you've got one of the best QBs and one of the best schematic offensive coaches of all time.
Hey, while we're talking running backs, you made reference to the Penn State running backs.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go off topic and ask you the question.
Go ahead.
Nick Singleton, Katron Allen. Who gets drafted higher and who has the better NFL career?
Excellent questions. Jim Galante of the Keystone Sports Network, Chris Bucanati of the obligatory PSU pregame show, filling in for Jeff and Keith right here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, reminding you to check out Quaker Steak and Lube in State College any time of day, any meal, any situation. Taking the family out, date night, going to watch some of this college basketball action going on, or having a business meeting, State College's Quaker Steak and Lube is going to take excellent care of you. You're going to have a great meal at a very reasonable price. The question on the table is, which of the two Penn State running backs will get drafted higher and who will have the better NFL career? I think my answer to that is probably going to mirror what your feelings are, Jim. I think Nick Singleton gets drafted higher because on most of the mock draft boards I have looked at, he has been rated higher because of speed and athleticism. Who do I think is going to have the better NFL career? I do think it's going to be Katron Allen, man. I think you look at that Kenneth Walker performance in the Super Bowl, and what made him so deadly was his patience and his vision and the way he matched it together with the ability to run with great footwork and power when he needed it. That's Katron. The dude is not going to take the top off a defense with his top end speed, but he's going to work you over and he's going to wear you down, and he's always going to get more yards than it looks like the play is set up to gain because of his patience, vision, and footwork. So I love Katron Allen, love Nick Singleton, but I think Nick gets drafted higher. Katron has the quote unquote better career. Are we aligned or not?
We are, almost word for word. I've always been a Nick Singleton guy. I love the fact that he could hit the home run. Just love that. Hope he does really, really well. Hope he goes to the right environment. It's kind of like, again, Saquon Barkley going from the Giants to the Eagles with that offensive line. Now, again, as an Eagles guy, I hope that offensive line will still be intact next year. I still hope that they could be the best offensive line in football. If they are, boy, wouldn't you like to see Katron Allen or Nick Singleton in that backfield also with Saquon?
Little bit of intel. Team brought both of them in for meetings over Combine weekend.
I'm just saying, I think either one of them could really excel with the good offensive line. I think also being able to bring them in along with a back like Saquon Barkley, take a little bit of the load off Barkley. And I know, Chris, that's me as a Penn State fan and an Eagles fan talking here. I love when Penn State guys go to the Eagles, my team in the NFL, but I would love to see that.
Well, between Miles Sanders and Saquon Barkley, Philly has done very well bringing in Penn State running backs of late. And I do think either one of those guys brings some skills to the table that could help complement what Philly has in the backfield. I do think the Eagles need to re-sign Tank Bigsby and keep him in the fold. And I think they need to use him a little bit more just to take some of the pressure off Saquon as he gets a little bit older. And he did come off a 400-plus touch season 2 years ago when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And there was no question. People don't realize the extent of the offensive line struggles Philadelphia had last season between players who were hurt, players who were playing through injury and ultimately had to stop playing, in Landon Dickerson and their center Cam Jurgens, and Lane Johnson was not able to go most of the season. And losing Mekhi Becton in free agency and the inability to replace him, that was a completely different offensive front. So, yeah, I think there was a little wear on the tires from the long season on Saquon, but I think it was mostly just the problems Philly had on the offensive line, which nobody wanted to talk about because the sexy story was Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, which was not, in my opinion, 1/10 of the issue Philly had as much of the offensive line last season. So we're going to take a little break here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. When we come back, we're going to shift back into the world of college sports, what's going on nationally in college hoops. Obviously, we're not talking college hoops when it comes to the Nittany Lions, but in other sports, Penn State's got it cooking. So we're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, brought to you by State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, right here on Central Pennsylvania's Sports Authority, 98.7 The Fox. We'll be right back.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again, The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox State College.
Hey, yo, welcome back, everybody. The Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show presented by State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. Goon and Ironhead both out today. Chris Bucanati of the obligatory PSU pregame show. Jim Galante of the Keystone Sports Network filling in. Jim, why don't you go ahead and let our audience know where they can find you, not only on the airwaves here on 98.7 The Fox, but anywhere on the interwebs. Go.
Okay, first of all, our website, KeystoneSportsNetwork.com. Everything there. You could go back and look at, listen to old shows. We also have the app. Just search Keystone Sports on the Apple. You could also just, wherever you get your podcast from, we're there. Spotify, iStore. Just go look. Spotify's a good place to go for your podcast. I kind of like that.
Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, you name it. Keystone Sports Network. Check them out. And, of course, 3 to 4 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on the Fox. Jim got his plug in. I'll next get to mine. TFN Radio, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Also, check out segments from the show on the Tangwall Film Network on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. Got great Penn State men's hockey film analysis in there as the Nittany Lions get into postseason play. A big win for Penn State last night, Jim. But go ahead. Before we get into that, what do you got?
Yeah, before you get into that, could I throw in just a tease on something coming? Both
Sure.
you and I involved.
Yeah, right ahead.
You and I involved. We're going to have some live shows with the players in association with our buddies at HVU, Happy Valley United, where we're going to have access to players and staff. That's really exciting. I can't wait for that, Chris. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool spot here in the Nittany Valley. Pine Grove Hall and Pine Grove Mills is where I'm doing my Penn State football history presentations in April on the 5th and the, I say that and then I forget, the 30th, excuse me. And then we'll be out there on the 25th of March. More announcements about that coming next week. But a big win last night, Jim, for Penn State men's ice hockey. Badly needed it. After stumbling a little bit at the end of the season, they needed to get the win over Minnesota, who had a bad year, very bad year by their standards, in Pagula Ice Arena to secure their postseason future. If they lost, if they got upset on their home ice, which after getting swept by Wisconsin to end the regular season was not off the table in a lot of people's minds, still a pretty good shot to make the tournament. But as I've been talking about on the air all week, all computerized. And so if you had too many tournament bid stealers, which is another subject we're going to get to in a different sport in just a few minutes, there's a little tease for folks. But if you had tournament bid stealers, in other words, teams that weren't going to make the playoffs otherwise, who won their conference tournaments and vultured up some of those playoff spots, guess what? Too bad, so sad. Penn State had dropped down too far in the pecking order. So really, really important to get the win. I think even more important to look convincing doing it and be led by your star player, Gavin McKenna. Penn State checked off all those boxes with the 6-2 home win over Minnesota.
And you know what, Chris? Watching this hockey team perform, when I get basketball has been a disaster. And I often get basketball could never play here. You know, there wasn't too long ago, there was not even a hockey program here. Okay. And I think you put a winner and a competitive team, an entertaining product, and anyone who's been out to the arena and seen this team play a lot, not just this year, but over the years, what a great night out. Okay. This is when I become jealous of folks like yourself who live in State College and just have to go down the street to see a hockey game. I'm an hour and a half away. Okay. So, but I've done it because it's worth it. And, it's a long way of saying, boy, I wish basketball, I did the same kind of thing, gave us a competitive product to be out there. But yes, your points are valid on hockey. And what an exciting team this year, too.
Yeah, the program has been consistently competitive since its inception. Under Guy Godowski, even the down years have been competitive, and there have been a lot of great runs. When you think about from nothing, roughly 14 years ago, to the formation of a Big Ten men's ice hockey conference, to winning that conference, to Frozen Four appearance, all in that time period, and almost every single season, you're putting a great, exciting product out on the ice in a terrific arena that would be the envy of some NHL organizations. Really, really good story for Penn State and Penn State athletics. And it's been a great hockey year here in Hockey Valley. You have the men's team, Gavin McKenna, all the hype, the outdoor game at Beaver Stadium, which was awesome, even though we couldn't get the W. Maybe get another crack at Sparty when we get into the postseason tournament here, or maybe even in the Big Ten tournament, if we can get through the tough task of beating Michigan in Ann Arbor. But the women's team's going gangbusters as well. And the women's Final Four is being played, Frozen Four, is being played at Pagula Ice Arena. Princeton and UConn facing off this Saturday, and the winner of that game is going to get the Nittany Lions the following weekend. So a lot of good stuff going on the ice here at Penn State. And then, of course, the wrestling team just continues to just blast through that sport like a juggernaut. This past weekend at Bryce Jordan Center, Big Tens, really cool to have that event here in Happy Valley. And Penn State sets team records for individual Big Ten champions with 7 and overall points with 184. Cale Sanderson just rewriting the record books as it goes. Really cool stuff.
It's just ridiculous. And, I think it was it a year ago, 2 years? I'm talking with Ironhead about the program. And he's, Jim, as good as it is, it's just going to get better. You got to see this next recruiting class,
Indeed.
And he was right. And the dominance, and especially what's fascinating, if you do the comparison in college football, closest thing to this Penn State wrestling program in college football was Nick Saban in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And when the world switched over to the NIL world, Nick Saban said, no mas, no more. Just, it's a different game. Cale Sanderson, he just keeps going. Didn't matter that everything changed in all of collegiate sports. It didn't slow them down even one bit. It's the most amazing.
Totally under Cale Sanderson's feet. And since that's happened, he's fielded his most dominant teams at Penn State. And when you look at last year's team, which had 10 All-Americans, which had only happened once before, and that was Minnesota, who did it without any individual national champions. So you win the team title with a points record, 10 All-Americans. You place, I can't remember whether it was 2 or 3 individual national champions. It is a run unlike all but a few in any sport in the history of college athletics. And to your point, Jim, probably in some ways uniquely impressive because it straddles the old school and the NIL era. There's been no drop off. And in fact, in the NIL years, there has been even an uptick in success and production. So really cool stuff.
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous consistency and excellence.
Appreciate you all being here with us as we round into the home stretch, the 2 to 4 block every Tuesday, Thursday. Don't forget you can tune in to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show with Jeff the Ironhead Byers, longtime voice, future Hall of Famer for it, of the Penn State wrestling team, former Nittany Lions offensive tackle, Big Ten champion, national champion. In this guy's book, Keith the Goon Conlin. They come to you live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Make sure you tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 to 4 p.m. here on 98.7 The Fox. Everything going to be back to normal, I believe, by next Tuesday. But for now, you got the two of us, Bucanani and Galante, filling in. Jim, I want to shift to a different college sports topic. I said we were going to talk a little college hoops. Obviously, that means we're probably not going to talk too much Penn State, but I do just want to mention one little nugget of Penn State news. It appears that Tanisha Wright, former Penn State Lady Lion, longtime player in the WNBA, head coach, assistant coach in that league, is emerging as the favorite to succeed Carolyn Keeger to lead the Penn State women's basketball program. Hopefully back to the days of the success we were experiencing when Tanisha was playing here. So just kind of cool to see a potential new Nittany Lion comes home story in the coaching ranks.
It would be. And we talked about both basketball programs on our show. And I've gotten the opportunity to interview, get to know a little bit, Coach Keeger. I got to interview Mike Rowe. I like them both. I really do.
Yeah.
But 7 years is a long time. You gave Carolyn Keeger a lot of rope there. 7 years, one winning record in 7 years, and no NCAA tournaments. That's unacceptable. The basketball program, I know Mike Rhodes is getting a lot of heat, understandably so. But I want to ask you, Chris, because I keep getting the question about should he be retained or not. My thinking for yes is, do you really want to pay the $9 million buyout? I'd rather that money get invested into players. The other thing is it's a very young team. So there is a chance they could mature together if you were able to retain the talent.
Yeah.
What I do,
you can always go out and theoretically buy better talent from year to year in college basketball.
True. If Rhodes leaves, my assumption is whatever's left is going to be gone, and you're going to be starting all over again. I think I would give him another year. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's what's going to happen for a variety of reasons. And you hit on probably the top one. Penn State doesn't want to pay the buyout, and I mean, again, for what? Like, clearly they've undervalued the sport. The team stunk this year in no small part because Penn State's not willing to invest resources in it, and that's been the story forever. Again, I'll plug the interview I did with Dave Jones, retired columnist from the Harrisburg Patriot News. Check it out. It's on the Tengwall Film Network on YouTube. Dave lays it out very clearly that not only has there been no tradition of investment in the program, Dave claims he knows for a fact that Mike Rhodes was told point blank by Pat Kraft that he had to quote unquote take one for the team this year because all the focus was on investing NIL in football. And you know, again, from a financial perspective, probably as it should be. But if you're going to create that environment, what are you going to pay a $9 million buyout for what? For what?
Of course not.
You gave the guy a couple of paper clips and a ball of twine, and he couldn't MacGyver his way out of the situation. Come on. But then the other point is, we talked about the vacancy in the women's program. I don't think Pat Kraft wants to fire the women's basketball coach, fire Mike Rhodes, who he hired, pay his buyout, and then have to replace both of those coaches. And by the way, another important note on that, if you fire Mike Rhodes, you're also firing Taylor Battle and Joe Crispin, two program legends, along with him. I just don't think the degree of investment in the program thus far is tantamount to a demand that you have to let Mike Rhodes go, even after such a disappointing season.
And the other thing, Chris, when looking at the program in the NIL era, is it's like the Pittsburgh Pirates. Do you blame their manager for the fact that they're losing every year when they have their budget is 1/3 of what the better teams have? You know, and that happens. I do know it happens, and that's the way for the general manager to take the heat off himself. And the fact is, it goes higher up. It's how much money are you investing in the program? That's your maybe your biggest variable now in these sports. So I'm not sure if you're not going to invest in it. It doesn't matter if it's Mike Rhodes or not, or if it's someone else you bring in. You know, it kind of reminds me of the Virginia Tech situation when Brett Pry was there. They invested nothing in the football program, nothing. Now, to get James Franklin, they had to pay him, and they also had to promise they would put more money into the program. Ironically, Brent Pry came back as the defensive coordinator there. He's got to be saying to himself, why couldn't you give me the money?
Right. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, that program has been reestablished in 2026. So it's a fresh slate. I don't even want to get into that, but since I just thought about it, let me just say, a little spoiler alert. I sat in with you on a Keystone Sports Network that's going to air locally here from 3 to 4 p.m. tomorrow. And I talked about, just a little bit on the subject. James is talking a big game right now. And what I said with you when we recorded the show that's going to air tomorrow, resentment is not a great long-term fuel for success. He is doing and saying some things that with the schedule they have coming up this year, which is not super easy, he better be prepared to win at least 9 games or he's going to eat some poop with some of the stuff he's saying. So anyway, that's a different story for another time. I do think Mike Rhodes is coming back for another season, and I think that he should. And let me just say, it is humbling in a way to now have, if Tanisha Wright gets hired as the Lady Lions head coach, 2 coaches who were playing when I was in school, in Katie Schumacher, now Katie Schumacher-Colley, who's coaching the women's volleyball team. And if Tanisha Wright becomes coach of Lady Lions, who'll be coaching those programs, don't love it. Do not love the relentless march of time. But let's stay on college basketball, but let's broaden the lens a little bit. I don't know how closely you have been following this story. I've been tracking it just because I am fascinated by it. Miami of Ohio, undefeated in the regular season. Worst case scenario for the MAC has played out. Things that make you go, This kind of makes me wonder in the same way that Trey Hendrickson's Max Crosby's physical made me think and go, The Red Hawks were downed. I almost used their politically incorrect old school mascot name. The Red Hawks were down today in the quarterfinals of the MAC tournament. They lost to UMass, who by the way, has been in the MAC for like 2 minutes, 87-83. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, not a good team. I was actually bringing up on my phone messages, Sean Gold, who I do a show with, Sean's Take. We were talking about this together, and he was sending me text messages about it today. Miami of Ohio losing to a not good UMass team who had about a 500 record. But it's a topic. It's when you have 64 or 68 teams, the question became, I think it was the coach from Auburn was saying Miami shouldn't make it to the tournament if they don't get an automatic bid. You know what? You go 31-0 in your regular season, and that you're eligible, you gotta make the tournament. And the argument, which I understand, their schedule is god awful. They weren't able to play any good teams in their out of conference schedule. But part of that, Chris, is nobody wanted to play them.
And there's 68 teams. You're telling me you go undefeated in the regular season. They can't find a room. 31 games they won. I understand. Blah, blah, blah. Look at some of these automatic qualifiers who get in. Okay, this is what makes March Madness fun. I think it is lunacy, Jim. And I am not, this is kind of goes back to what you and I talk about on the show tomorrow, where the Big Ten and the SEC in football really come in and they bully everyone else. I think sometimes to the overall detriment of the sport, even though at Penn State, probably the interests of the Power 2 are the interests of our program because we're one of the flagship programs in one of the top 2 conferences. I get the whole argument for the Power 2 and the Power 4 as a consumer who enjoys college sports. What makes March Madness fun is not watching the 9th best team in the Big Ten or the SEC go a round or 2 deep into the tournament. it's one shining moment for teams I couldn't care to watch any other time of the year get their chance on the big stage. And so to me, if you're letting 68 teams get a crack at playing in that tournament, although to my mind, it's still really only 64, fine, but there are 68 who get a chance. A team that goes 31-0 should not have to win its conference tournament to get one of those 68 spots so we can let Auburn, who's won like 15 games, get in. And I don't care how deep the conference is. It just, to me, you got to think about the entertainment value of your product. And I do not give a crap about the 10th place team in the SEC. I don't. You want to make the tournament, don't finish in 10th place.
Exactly. And by the way, it's Bruce Pearl was the name I was searching for.
Yeah, so Bruce is the commentator. His son now is coaching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that gets me is, first of all, like you said, then win enough games to get in. And even if it's a situation where, like Nick Saban had the argument in the college football playoffs, oh, Alabama with 3 losses would be favored. I don't care. Don't lose 3 games then, okay?
Were they favored in the regular season games they lost?
Correct. Exactly. And it's the same thing here. If you want to argue with me that the 10th place team in the Southeast Conference would be favored against Miami of Ohio, okay, fine. Don't care. Don't care at all. Now, me, as the consumer, as a fan, I'm more likely to turn on a game. I want to see Miami of Ohio play.
100%.
I really do. And you know what? If they don't belong, Chris, they're going to get embarrassed and blown out in the first round. Okay?
And you know what? It's okay, actually, if they do.
Yes.
That is part of the appeal of March Madness. That Cinderella gets a chance, and the understanding is very often it's not going to work out. But people enjoy, especially on that first week of the tournament, which you said should be a national holiday, and I couldn't agree more. People want to see those stories. Here are the stats. Jim, I'm sorry. Auburn is not 10th place in the SEC. That is incorrect. They are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12th. They're 12th. Jim, they're 17-15 overall. Their conference record is 7-11. They're in 12th place. Come on.
That's it. They had their chance in the regular season, win some game. And if you want to tell me, middle of the road, SEC, Big 10, ACC, Big 12 is better than Miami, you know what? Maybe you're right. However, I don't care. And you know what? I want to see like one of those last teams in from one of the big conferences. I want them matched up with Miami, in fact, in a first round game. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's an 8-9 game or, a 7-10 game. I want to see it. And you know what? I'm going to be rooting for Miami.
Of course. Yeah. I think most of the country would be, for sure. Chris Bucadani and Jim Galante filling in for Jeff and Goon here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, presented to you by State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, coming to you live in Central Pennsylvania on Central Pennsylvania Sports Authority, Sports Radio, 98.7 The Fox. We're finishing up here, out of here at the top of the hour. Jim, it's been a pleasure having you joining me on the program today as we fill in for Goon and Ironhead, who will be back on the air next week, every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 to 4 p.m. Check them out live from Quaker Steak and Lube in State College.
If we're talking about hoops, I got to ask you before it starts, you have a favorite?
To win it all?
Yeah. I mean, the top of it's Michigan, Duke, Arizona, I think are the obvious on that first line. Then Florida, UConn, Houston. Who's your fourth number 1 seed? And is there anyone in particular that you like?
Well, I'll tell you, I had last year, I lost a little bit of money to a buddy, by the way, so it's okay. I was happy to see him win, but he and I both had Houston and Florida in the finals. We had the 2 highest ranked brackets, And I thought this was going to be the year for the Cougs last year, and they couldn't get it done. And he picked Florida. Man, I do like Florida's team again this year. I'm not picking Duke, and
just can't allow yourself to do
I'll
it.
tell you what, if my head were picking the most impressive team I've seen through most of the year, I would pick Michigan. But two things: my heart overrules me because I hate them, and number two, any team, I don't care if it was the worst night, I don't care who was hurt, I don't care what. Any team that came within 2 points of losing to Penn State, I can't put any faith in them. So I'm going to give you Houston for the fourth number one seed. And Arizona's burned me. Houston's burned me. I'm not going for I am not going for Michigan. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going for Duke. Let's take Florida to have another back-to-back run.
Well, I'll tell you what, my buddy Sean Gold, who watches and looks for the betting trends.
Yeah.
I think, what's the statistic? He said that over so many years, the national champion has always been top 10 or 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiency.
Yes.
The three big teams, Arizona, Michigan, and Duke, are in that. Houston is the only other team in that list. I kind of have that, they didn't quite get there last year. So I'm kind of thinking Houston. The other one, Arizona, this is East Coast bias. We don't see the West Coast teams play, and we have a tendency to overlook them. They have a couple really good players. Guys who are going to be towards the top of the draft, the NBA draft, come up this year. Sometimes you just expect stars to be stars come tournament time, So right now in my head, I'm trying to decide between Houston and Arizona.
Now, here's the thing. So we do this every year. I think Goon is going to be recovered well enough to do it again next week. Ironhead heads off to do NCAA wrestling tournament. Mike the mailman, Goon, and I get on this show and we do our brackets. So whatever I'm saying here, I don't know what the matchups are. I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought. Don't hold me to it. I do like everything you're saying about Houston. So I may come back around on them and say, you know what, like this is their chance to get back over the hump. A big part of it, though, really is the matchups.
Yes.
And it is funny. You brought up Arizona. I don't know how many other people do this with their brackets, but I really do grade teams over how well they have done for me or how badly they've burned me in past years, even though that's an absurd strategy because it's different players, different coaches, whatever. But I cannot tell you, at least like 3 or 4 times, I have put my faith in Arizona because I think I am still like stuck in the Lute Olson era and believing in that team. And just time after time, they have burned me like 1 or 2 rounds early exiting from where I had them going. So I'm hands off with Arizona Wildcats basketball now.
And I get that. And that is the tendency we have.
By the way, totally irrational and ridiculous.
Right. In my days of, I lived in Philadelphia for a long time. I let my heart get part of it. Any Big 5 team, Temple,
dude,
Villanova, LaSalle, any of those teams get in, I'm going to overrate them. Which is great with Villanova when they were winning. So yes, that's part of filling out, the pool and filling out your bracket. You look also for, like we said, matchups. Real quick, I remember Penn State, great year in the tournament, and they had to play Nolan Richardson and Arkansas.
1995.
40 minutes of hell.
Yeah.
And what a terrible matchup. It was one of those you could see from a mile away coming, right?
Yeah, super frustrating that tournament because Penn State was set up to go a few rounds deep easily if they could get through that matchup. And that would if I remember, Penn State was the higher seeded team there, were they not?
I believe so. but it was just like when I saw Arkansas.
That was like the last
I went,
gasp of the 40 minutes of hell era.
That's just not a matchup that works for them. But it's also, it leads me to, Chris, boy, do I miss having a competitive basketball team that could make the tournament. It's so much fun. As much fun as the tournament is, and I said national holiday, but if my team is in it, it just goes to the next level. Boy, I miss that. Note to Pat Kraft.
Indeed. Although, at the end of the day, just winning football, guys. Let's keep it real. But I do want to wish good luck to the men's ice hockey team as they travel out to Ann Arbor on Saturday to try to keep it going in the Big Ten tournament and maybe get a measure of revenge for that outdoor game at Beaver Stadium if they can meet up with Sparty in the finals and bring home a Big Ten title. Jim, huge pleasure. Really appreciate you being part of the program all afternoon long. It was great to talk a variety of sports topics with you. Usually you and I are just talking Penn State football. It was cool to range all over the place today.
I absolutely loved it, Chris. Anytime you want me on, just say so. I really enjoyed it.
I'm going to give you the floor one final time to plug Keystone Sports Network and where the listeners can find it.
Hey, the easiest place is KeystoneSportsNetwork.com. You could go there, see all our stuff. You could also download it to your device if you want. Also, podcast version, go find the podcast. And of course, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 o'clock, 98.7 The Fox in State College.
And most importantly, folks, wherever you are, however you may be listening, the next time you're planning to go out to eat, especially for wings, as we are getting into March Madness season, cannot recommend highly enough Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. If you know the Quaker Steak and Lube brand, it's great wherever you go. They take it to another level here in Happy Valley. We are so happy to have our partnership long time with them. They take care of us, and they will take care of you just the same. So make sure you get out to Quaker Steak and Lube in State College sometime soon. Maybe we'll see you there. Goon and Ironhead will be back on Tuesday, as they are every Tuesday, Thursday, 2 to 4 p.m. here on the Fox. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, signing off in the same way that the Ironhead would if he were here. I'll remind you all to be good and be safe. And keep it locked right here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, We advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State